expected.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck. Join Lyle Boss on his Safe Money radio show. He talks about how you can get substantial bonuses on your retirement accounts and so much more. You also can call Lyle right now for his new Safe Money Miracle Book and a complimentary appointment for an inflation-proof audit of your current retirement plan. Call Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, 855-355-SAFE. That's 855-355-7233.
Join Lyle Boss and Safe Money Radio, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on KVNU.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And good morning. We welcome you to the show on another gorgeous Saturday morning. As I think I'm speaking for probably many of our listeners, today is going to be a great day to be out in the yard and the garden. It's harvest day around our house. We got to get out and do a little bean harvesting. Corn's coming on. Had a few squash this week that was just delicious, and so
the garden's just producing like crazy. So
yeah,
we just can't beat that. So
love this time of year. So phone lines are open if you have a question for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. We're going to be talking about all things lawn and garden this morning, and also as part of the show this morning, we're going to be giving away a 4-pack of tickets. So we've done this before, and we thought as we're moving into our new studios, we're going to be kind of doing this again, because we come to find out as we were moving things around, we found a bunch of extra tickets, and we thought, hey, let's give them away.
How does that happen? Oh, we've got some extras.
Yeah, kind of call it summer cleaning, I guess.
Hey, that works.
And so remodeling cleaning. And so for all of our listeners this morning, we have a 4-pack of tickets that we're going to be giving away at the end of the show. So if you call in with a question, comment for Mark, I'm going to take your name, as we always do, but also your phone number. And then at the end of the show, we're going to draw randomly one of our callers, and we will give you a 4-pack of tickets to Loveland Living Planet Aquarium. It's down in Draper. A great place to take the family, and you can use these tickets through next year. They're good up until the end of March of next year. So if you would like to do something as we wind down summer, because we know that summer is quickly coming to an end, the kids going back to school this next week, or if you want to go sometime in the fall or the winter, you can do that as well. There is no limit on when you can use these tickets. So phone lines are open at 435-753-KVNU or 435-752. KVNU. And we got to start out talking a little bit about what's going on at the store.
Does school really start this week?
High school football started last night, Mark.
Oh, man.
It was quite a night. Yeah, all of the schools back in action last night.
Summer is officially over.
Yep.
Dang.
Yep. Oh, Teachers went back to the classes. Well, at least for my wife, they were back in the classes this week.
Getting prepped and ready for the big day.
Assessments start this next week for some of the preschoolers, and by midweek, yeah, it's going to be back to school. We were down in Utah County for a couple of days. Alpine School District started Thursday, and so, yeah, it's that time of year.
That is so early.
Yeah, I always remember as a kid, that was always the worst feeling. It's like, where did the summer go?
Let's see, I'm walking out in the garden and I'm grabbing a zucchini. Oh, let's do a zucchini for dinner. Oh, we can have some cucumbers. And, oh, look, the corn's about ready. Oh, so we're going to have corn. And, oh, we can have potatoes and the onions. And cantaloupes are ready to go. And we're harvesting tomatoes like crazy. And we gathered some peppers. And it's just the garden's going nuts. Our beans are, first batch of beans are done. The giant pumpkins kind of ate those up. But I've got 2 more batches of beans coming, so we'll be having beans in September. So that will be nice. I always like it when the beans come on as well too. So here it is, the middle of August, and it is that time of year when you can plant some of your fall crops again. So like all of our spring planted vegetables, we can turn around and plant those again and have a nice fall crop. So we've got people that are planting onions and spinach and lettuce and radishes. You can even do peas right now. We're going to probably try and plant some peas this weekend so we can have a nice crop coming on the first part of October, because they only take about 50 to 55 days to produce. So a great time for those to come on as well too. But looks like we've got some callers on the phone, but we forgot to kind of mention some of the things happening at Anderson's.
Yes.
So we can do that really quick before we grab some phone calls. At Anderson's, cash sales going on right now. So continuing with the cash sale. So I think we've bumped the numbers up that everything is now 40% off. But if you pay with cash, you get that extra 10%. So we're doing the extra 10% discount with our cash sale. So at Anderson Seed and Garden, that's trees, flowering shrubs, evergreens, vines, pretty much all the stuff we have left in the nursery. Those are all 40% off and an extra 10% off if you pay with cash. And so great deals happening right now at Anderson Seed and Garden. We've got some clearance items in our clearance section that we're clearing out as well too. And then don't forget that next Saturday is the Center Street Art Beat. So we've got a great festival going on downtown on Center Street next Saturday, and there'll be music playing all day. I think it starts at 12 o'clock, and we'll be on Center Street, but then we also have a stage at the Plaza. So the Plaza on Center and Main, they'll have acts going on there as well too, and there'll be art exhibits and all kinds of fun activities and different things to do throughout the day next weekend. So that's the Center Street Art Beat Music and Art Festival. So we're pretty excited about that happening on Center Street. And then Latino Festival is coming up on the 14th of September, so make sure and get that on the calendar. That's also on Center Street, and that is a great party to go to. There's great food. There's all kinds of entertainment. It is so colorful and fun and energetic. So Latino Festival is an awesome time to be downtown, especially on Center Street. And then the Pumpkin Festival is coming up the 28th of September.
I know.
Yeah, my pumpkins. I was going to check them this morning. I haven't got to look at them this week because I've been gone, so my son's been taking care of them. But I'm hoping, got my fingers crossed, we're up to 400 pounds.
I was going to say, last week we were around 300.
Yeah,
so
Yep, so we should be over 400. I got my fingers crossed. So
All right.
I have not looked at them for 5 days. So we'll see what we find. So,
all right.
yeah.
So a lot going on over at Anderson Seed and Garden this weekend, and it's going to be exciting next couple of weekends.
Yeah, fun things going on downtown.
Yeah,
tons of fun stuff.
Talk more about that coming up in the show. But yeah, let's go out to the phone lines. We have Kathy who's joining us first on the line from Dayton. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I have an Italian plum tree, and it's like the fruits ripens, but not all the way because it never gets soft, and then they fall off the tree. What am I doing wrong?
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think that's normal with the Italian plums because you pick them when they're a little bit immature, and then they'll ripen and you dry them. So I mean they're made for drying. So they're made for turn into prunes.
Okay, yeah. So how do I know when to pick them then when they start to turn, because they're turning purple?
Yeah, when they turn purple and it looks like they're about ready to fall off the tree, that's when you want to pick them. So when they start shedding a little bit, go through and kind of pick all the ones that look like they're ripe and then let the other ones mature a little bit more. Unfortunately, they don't all come on at the same time. So it's kind of like a progressive, pick, but those are not really great eat fresh plums. You really want to dry those.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think that's just the nature of the beast.
So they should be coming on right about now then.
Yeah, it's usually the end of August. Yeah, it's usually the end of August, sometimes the 1st of September, depending on what the weather does. And, of course, it has been kind of a hot summer, so some things seem to be coming on a little bit quicker. Like my summer apples, they were on a little bit early. We started picking them like 2 weeks ago, and they're almost done, and that's a little bit early for them. So I think the plums might come on a little early as well.
So I pick them. Do I let them wait for a while?
You can let them. You can let them ripen up a little bit, but as soon as you start drying them, they're going to be good. But you want that nice color.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're turning purple, and then they fall.
Yeah. Yep. And then they never ever, like when you eat them raw, they never ever get really sweet. It's when you dry them and the sugars come out. So.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Kathy. Thanks for calling this morning.
Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good one. All right. We've got phone lines open, and we've got a couple callers waiting already. So 753-5868, 753-KVNU, and you are welcome to call in with more questions or comments. And we are giving away tickets today.
That's right. Everyone that calls in, if you missed us mentioning it early this morning, everybody that calls in, we have a chance to take your call, and we will put you into a drawing for a 4-pack of tickets to Love and Living Planet Aquarium. So we have Lori, who's joining us on the line next from College Ward. Lori, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you.
Hey, Lori.
Hi. I have a couple of questions. My first question is, I have petunias and geraniums and all that kind of thing, but they're getting invaded by tobacco budworms.
Yes.
And I just can't remember what I'm supposed to spray on those to get rid of those. I've been picking them off and killing them, but I need to spray because they've just gotten so bad.
There's so many of them, yes. So it sounds like everybody's having the same problem right now, and they will eat the flower buds before they open up, and so your plants look really healthy and you've got no flowers on them. And so
yes.
Yep. And picking them by hand is almost futile. It is quite satisfying, but but it just seems like there's more and more and more and more. And so there are some there's some really great natural controls that are very, very effective that stops them from eating almost immediately. And so it won't kill them right away, but it stops them from eating your plants, which is what we want. So you can use either BT, which is Bacillus thuringiensis, or you can use spinosad, and those are both organic, so very, very effective and very safe to use. And they work great on the petunias and the geraniums and won't bother the flower blossoms that you do have left and won't damage them or anything. So those are great. We've also had really great results with Sayonara and permethrin, and also the new version of 7. So those are some really great products. The Bug Blaster is great too. If you're spraying flowers, the Bug Blaster is awesome. And so those are some really good options for you. We use the Sayonara on Center Street and on Main Street, and it's been very, very effective. But we'll alternate it with the spinosad just to keep some different insecticides out there to prevent them becoming resistant to anyone. So.
Okay.
All right.
So I have one of those tiny little 2-quart sprayers that you can use.
Right.
But how much do I use for that if I have spinosad?
If you have the spinosad, it is 4 tablespoons per gallon. And so if you're doing a quart, you do a tablespoon per quart. So if it's a 2-quart, you're going to do two tablespoons.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you. And then my second question is, we have cantaloupe, but I don't know when to pick them or how to pick them.
Great question. Great question. Yeah, depends on the variety. Most varieties will slip off the vine when they are ripe and ready. And so I'll watch the cantaloupes, and if they start to develop that nice thick netting, and the netting turns really, really kind of tan colored, that's when they're pretty much ready to go. And you can just kind of tug on the cantaloupe on the vine just slightly, and it will usually just separate and come right off. There are a few varieties like Infinite Gold that don't come off. They just adhere to the vine, and they won't pull off really easy. Those you have to watch the stem and watch for the netting to start crawling up the stem just a little bit, and that's when they're ready. I picked one last week thinking it was close, and it was probably about 4 days too early. And so you gotta let the netting crawl up the stem a little bit longer. But most of the time, those will just detach when they're ready to go.
Okay, because before we've waited, it seemed like that long, and then they were way too mushy.
Yeah. So I will usually go out there, and when they look like they're ready, I'll kind of press on the blossom end, and if it's a little bit softer on the blossom end than on the exterior, like on the round part, then I'll tug on them. And if they want to come off, they'll just come off. But if you wait until they fall off, then they're too ripe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, try that. I hope we get a nice one.
Yes. I got my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lori. Have a great weekend.
Okay, you too.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Okay, and let's just go right back out to the phone lines.
Will's been over here just answering the phone like crazy.
Yeah, a lot of calls coming in. That's great. And as always, we can take more of those calls, 752-KVNU or 753-KVNU. And we have Jeff joining us on the line from Logan. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Good. Thank you very much. We have a 15-foot row of petunias in a planter, beautiful green growth. About a week ago, they dropped all their flowers.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of green growth, but not one flower.
That's the same problem that Lori has. You've probably got tobacco budworms, and they are little caterpillars, and they are very adept at hiding along the stems of the plants and underneath the leaves. And usually you'll see a few flowers on there, but they'll be kind of chewed, and then they'll chew the blossoms like before they even open up. And so your plants look super healthy, they look amazing, but there won't be a single flower on them, and they're eating all the flowers before they open up. And so the best options would be the spinosad is one of my favorites. It's an organic insecticide, very, very safe for people, won't hurt pollinators, but it's very, very effective on those caterpillars because when they come in contact with it, or if they consume it, it will stop them from eating almost immediately, paralyzes their digestive system, and eventually kills them. And so it's a very, very effective. If you want something a little bit quicker to knock them down, we've had really great results with the Sayonara and with the Bug Blaster from High Yield. Those have been super effective. Won't bother the blossoms, won't damage your flowers. I like to spray in the evening when the bees have all gone home with any of these products. So 8 o'clock, 8:30, when it's starting to not quite get dark, but it's like pretty close. That's the best time to spray. And the adult of this particular insect, so the adult is a moth that flies around in the evening, and they look like a hummingbird. So they bat their wings really, really fast, and they have a really long snout, and they usually are sticking their snout in the petunias or get into the geraniums, and they look like a hummingbird, but it's a moth, and they usually fly in the evening hours. So kind of watch for those as well.
I will. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling this morning, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, and now Chris is joining us on the line. Chris is from Logan. Chris, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for calling.
Hi. Thank you. I really like the show.
Thank you.
I have a question. So I bought some of your thornless raspberries, and they didn't produce too much because I guess they were so new, but now they're starting to get really leafy. But one of the plants is the leaves are going brown, but I'm watering it just like all the other ones. So what's going on with that plant?
That's a great question. Double check and make sure the soil's not staying really, really moist, because if it stays really soggy, excuse me, if it's really soggy, then the plants can start to deteriorate a little bit, especially with those newer plants that are just getting their root system established. Was it the Joan Jay that you picked up?
Yeah. Yeah.
They won't produce much during the summer that first year, but they should produce heavier this fall. So probably in September you might see them put on more blossoms and go again. Now's a really good time to fertilize, and now's a really good time to put iron on your raspberries as well too, because the raspberries have shown a lot of iron chlorosis, a lot of iron deficiency this year, and that will definitely affect their production. But also when they go iron deficient, they will turn brown and crispy. And so there's a possibility that you might have a little bit of iron deficiency on those, especially if you've been watering a lot this year. Since they're newly planted, you can leach the available iron out of the soil, and all of a sudden the leaves kind of start to turn yellow, and then they start to turn brown, and they'll go brown and crispy as well too. If you brought a sample in, I'd be able to tell you for sure. But I would suspect it's either the iron deficiency, or it could be too much or not quite enough water, depending on how your soil's holding the moisture. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just on one plant. The other ones are fine.
Are doing great. That's awesome. So I would probably lean towards maybe it being the iron instead.
Iron, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now is a good time to fertilize and get some new growth coming. And then in September, I'll bet they'll flush out with blossoms, and you'll have a nice fall crop. Those are ever-bearing raspberries, and when they're first planted, they won't do much during the summer at all, but they will usually produce pretty well the first fall, and then next year, depending on how we prune them, you can get a summer crop and a fall crop out of them.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, I had like 12 raspberries.
Oh, nice. Well, that's better. That's better than nothing, because most of the time you don't get anything. Yeah. So I'd take the 12, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks, Chris.
One of those signs that you always watch for, especially with raspberries, is the leaves starting to turn yellow. As soon as that happens, then I got to get out there with some iron and fertilizer.
Yeah. And we have had to water a lot this summer because it has been really dry. And we had a really wet spring, which naturally kind of leaches some of that iron out of the soil. So it's a fairly common problem that we have seen a lot this year. Yeah, we've seen a lot.
Plus, also, we were talking, what was it, last week or the week before? The summer, with the really hot temperatures we've had, has impacted the raspberry crop a little bit with a little smaller berries than you might traditionally have had. And we've seen that in our little raspberry
And it seemed like
patch.
a lot had kind of pollination issues, too, because they were blooming right when we had that frost.
First frost.
And so it did some damage on the plants. And then the heat kind of affects the blossoms so they don't get pollinated properly. And then you get some really small, kind of deformed-looking berries as well, too. So, we've had quite a few little issues. I'm hoping that we get a really, really great crop this fall because, we're getting storms. The temperatures have cooled down. I mean, it's really nice to be just in the mid-80s instead of in the mid to high 90s.
Yeah.
So it's like wonderful.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that frees up the phone lines. 435-753-5868 or 435-752-5868. We kind of jumped right into the phone calls this morning and only had a chance to mention cash and carry sale has increased.
Yes. So we're at that point where we're going to increase the discount. So all of the remaining trees and flowering trees and shrubs and evergreens are 40% off now. But if you pay with cash, you get that extra 10 still, so it brings it up to 50%. So this is a really great time to stop in and take advantage of the sale that we've got going on, 40% off. But if you pay with cash, you're going to get an extra 10, so you're going to get those for 50% off instead. And there's some really nice shrubs, some really great trees. I'm tempted to take a couple trees home and plant them at my house.
Okay. And then also, mention to us again, coming up next week is going to be the music festival.
Right. So the Center Street Art Beat Music Festival is next Saturday, and it starts at noon, and we've got a stage that's going to be on Center Street. So Center Street will be closed, and there'll be lots of art exhibits and artists and activities and different things going on Center Street on Saturday. And then we'll have music playing on the stage on Center Street, different bands, different genre, and also on the plaza, which is just half a block away. So we'll have some different music going on the plaza as well as on Center Street. So you can come down and check out both bands that are playing at the same time and see which one you like the best and kind of hang out and enjoy the music. There'll be lots of food and activities, and like I said, lots of artists. And this is more of an art festival, but music is a wonderful art form. So,
and the Center Street will close down around what time?
I think they'll start closing up sometime in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll be ready to go because it takes a little while to set up the stage and stuff.
Yeah.
So just kind of plan on Center Street being closed next Saturday, and then fun and music and everything starts at noon.
Yeah. It's always a lot of fun. Anytime you shut down Center Street, just makes for a fun party, whether it's the Pumpkin Festival or the Latina Festival. Yeah,
we are super excited. And then next week, the students come back as well, too. So that kind of inspired the whole event. And so that as the students come back and school starts on for Utah State on the 26th, this is the weekend that everybody kind of shows up. And so the students coming back and the community can kind of come together and just kind of have a little party and have some fun downtown and hopefully celebrate the start of the school year. So,
okay.
Yeah, should be great. We're super excited about it.
All right. So if you have a question, comment for Mark, as we mentioned, we still have a few more minutes before we go to the bottom of the hour news break. You can call in 435-753-5868 or 752-KVNU, and everyone who calls in has a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Loveland Living Planet Aquarium. You go down. You can use these anytime through the end of March of next year and take you and a few people down to the aquarium. So phone lines again open, 435-752-5868 or 753-KVNU. One of the things that we're seeing in our garden is still a lot. Even with all of the hoeing that we've gone out and done, it seems like you just go, if you don't get out there every day and pick the parsley out of there.
The weeds have just been crazy
Yeah.
this year, just crazy. And since we are getting those thunder showers, the weeds are coming up all in between the rows now. And so it's like before, it was fairly easy to keep the weeds out of my garden because the weeds were just coming up where I had my soaker hoses, and that was that was easy to control. But now we're getting these big thunderstorms that are coming in, and now the weeds are just like all over the place. And so it's a little bit more difficult to get those under control. So you can use the old-fashioned way, but with a pair of gloves or a hoe, a garden hoe, and that works really well. If you're seeing some really difficult weeds like morning glory or puncture vine or burr buttercup, you can use some different herbicides in the garden, in around the flower beds, but you got to be really, really careful because it could transfer and damage some of the surrounding plants. So I like to use a product called Decimate. And the Decimate is made by Fertilum, and Decimate is very selective. It will only kill what you spray it on. So if you're very, very careful and you don't spray it on the surrounding plants, it will only kill the plants that you target. Right. Yeah, and so it's very, very effective on morning glory. It kills puncture vine, it kills thistles, it kills mallow, it kills clover, but also kills grasses as well too. So I've been able to go in a couple sections of my garden where some puncture vine has really got in there, and the puncture vine's got a really, really deep taproot, and so if you hoe them, it will kill the top, but they'll just come right back because of that taproot. And so I like to spray those to get rid of them because the seeds are just evil. And they have those spikes on them that go right through your shoe and into your foot. And so the Decimate does a really great job on those, and can be used around vegetables and flowers. You just have to make sure you don't get any spray that drifts over onto your nearby plants, and super, super effective. But I have a lot of people coming in the store that have like tons of weeds in their lawn right now, and temperatures have cooled down to the point where we can start using lawn weed killers again. And so when we hit 80-degree daytime temperatures, you can start using weed-free zone again. You can use weed out with crabgrass control because those will work in daytime temperatures below 90 degrees without damaging your grass, and they'll do a really great job. So where we're getting daytime temperatures in the 80s, we can use those broadleaf herbicides and control dandelions and clover and mallow and thistle and morning glory and all these other weeds that have snuck into our lawn throughout the summertime, and it's very, very effective. And I'm looking at the forecast, and I think there's maybe one day that might hit 90 in the next 7, and it's looking pretty good. So this is when you can really get after those weeds again and see what's happening. 80s, yeah. A couple, maybe a 90 Tuesday, Wednesday, but we're back in the 80s, and then next Saturday looks like 81. 80.
Perfect.
Loving it. Yeah,
it'd be great up on Center Street.
It'll be perfect for Center Street. 80 degrees in the afternoon. It's going to be perfect to be out there having a good time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, we've got our bottom of the hour news break, and then we'll be right back to take more of your questions, your comments from Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden here on The Garden Guide.
Live with less water next year from the Colorado River after the U.S. government on Thursday announced water cuts, preserving the status quo. Long-term challenges remain for the 40 million people reliant on the imperiled river. The river is a lifeline for the U.S. West and supplies water to cities and farms in northern Mexico as well. Years of overuse combined with rising temperatures and drought have meant less water flows in the Colorado River today than in decades past. Next year, Arizona will again lose 18% of its total river allocation, while Mexico's will be down 5%. Nevada's share will again be reduced by 7%. Former Utah State Senator Karen Maine has passed away at age 78, according to a press release from the Utah State Senate. Senate President J. Stewart Adams and Minority Leader Luz Escamilla issued the following statement regarding the passing of the former senator, saying, quote, "Today we lost an extraordinary stateswoman and one of our dearest friends. Senator Karen Maine was a trailblazer and exceptional leader who showed us how working together despite political differences can strengthen our state." That was the part of the statement that was put out. On January 4th, 2023, Maine resigned from her position as state senator, citing health reasons. The formal beginning of her legislative service began in January 2008. Increasing chance of showers and thunderstorms Saturday afternoon into Saturday night and Sunday, but still sunshine, warm temperatures, high temperatures around 90, lows at night in the low 60s. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
I'm Jim Baswell. Full slate from the Bigs on Friday, which included a trio of walk-offs.
2-2 again. Swung on. Hit deep. This might go. That ball is off the wall. Game is over. Trey Turner wins it with a wall ball to left, and the Phillies celebrate a 3-2 walk-off win.
As 94 WIP, Trey Turner over there drawn in outfield. Phillies best the Nats 3-2. Center fielder Jake McCarthy misplayed Brandon Lau's 2-out single, deflecting up the middle. Johnny DeLuca in for the game winner. Tampa Bay walks off Arizona 5-4. Seiya Suzuki, the game winner in the 10th. Cubs best the Jays on last lick 6-5. Aaron Judge hit his major league leading 44th as the Yankees blanked the Tigers behind Garrett Cole 3-0. Bobby Witt Jr.'s 25th major league leading average of 352. Royals beat the Reds 7-1. Masataka Yoshida homered, had 4 knocked in. Red Sox pound all-star Corbin Burns for 8 runs before holding on the bestie O's. That final was 12-10, and Carlos Santana tie-breaking 3-run home run. Twins over the Rangers 4-3. Mookie Betts and Kevin Kiermaier homered in a 5-run 6. Dodgers came back to beat the Cards 7-6. Brendan Rodgers, Charlie Brockman went yard as the Rockies best the Padres 7-3. Mickey Moniak, the go-ahead run-scoring double in the 6. Angels rally past the Braves 3-2. Luis Robert homered twice. Season-high 4 hits, 4 knocked in. White Sox just their 30th win, 5-4 over the Astros. Willie Adames, a 3-run shot. Brewers best the Guardians 5-3, and Brandon Nimmo, a 3-run shot. Jeff McNeil with a runner aboard. Mets over the Marlins. That final was 7-3, while Paul Skeens struck out 6, ends a 4-star winless streak. Pirates snap a 10-game skid 5-3 over the M's. Caitlin Clark started fast, 29 points, 10 assists, as the Fever get a win over the Phoenix Mercury, 98-89, sweeping their season series.
Texting rolls.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anita Chandra with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Helmets are important for every bike ride, no matter how short. Did you know helmets are also important to wear when skateboarding, inline skating, or riding a scooter? A helmet can protect against a skull fracture or other facial injuries. Look for a helmet that fits correctly and that's certified for safety. Make sure you and your child wear a helmet every time. For more, visit healthychildren.org or talk with your pediatrician.
Dear John, uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. But when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
To get your high blood pressure to a healthy range, visit heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Taking the guesswork out of gardening. It's the Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And welcome back to the show. This is the Garden Guide here on KVNU. Will Feel Right, along with Mark Anderson of Anderson's Seed and Garden. We were just mentioning as we went into the break there that cash and carry sale has bumped up the discount another 10%.
Yeah, so 40% off all of our remaining trees and shrubs and evergreens and vines. And there's some really great looking shrubs. It's like there's some beautiful hydrangeas and some nice flowering trees. There's fruit trees left and some good looking evergreens. They're 40% off. And if you pay with cash, they will be an extra 10% off. And so I'll save you 10% more. And so you can get them for 50% off.
Okay.
Yeah, so great time to come into Anderson's, see what we've got left. We have perennials that are already on sale for half price. So those are already 50% off. But the trees and shrubs that we do have remaining, and there's a really, really great selection of trees and shrubs. If you want to add something to your landscape right now, this is a good time to do it. And temperatures are cooling down. Perfect time for planting. Fall is like the best time to plant because temperatures are cooling down. Plants will get established before winter sets in. And you can get 40% off our regular prices as well as an extra 10% off. It doesn't hurt at all. Cash sale going on at Anderson Seed and Garden. Next weekend, we have the Center Street Art Beat and Music Festival. Music Festival going on Center Street, and it starts at noon and it goes until 10 o'clock. And there'll be different performances going on, 2 different stages, one at the Plaza just off of Center Street, and one right there on Center Street. There'll be artists, there'll be outdoor art displays, there'll be artists creating art while they're there, right in the moment, and a little market and vendors and food and all kinds of fun stuff going on. So this should be a great event for everyone to come and participate in. There should be different types of music going on all day long, and 2 different ones going on the stages at the same time. So if you go to one stage and you go, I don't really love this music, you can always go to the other one and see what's happening over there as well too. And there'll be different acts and different types of music going on all day long. So should be a blast. So that's the Center Street Art Beat Music Festival on Center Street next weekend. Just be aware that Center Street will be shut down for the event. So if you're trying to get downtown, especially if you're trying to come to Anderson's, make sure and come in off of First West and come into our back entrance. And that will be a great place for you to come in and hang out at Anderson's and enjoy the music that's going on right there on Center Street as well too. And then don't forget that the Latino Festival is coming up on September 14th. So that should be a great party also on Center Street. And that is just a lot of fun. They really know how to throw a party on Center Street with the Latino Festival.
Yes,
and it's really fun. It's super colorful, and it's just a great time. They've done it for 4 years now. I think it's 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, 4.
And every year it's just like a giant party out there. Yeah, it's great. And the Pumpkin Festival on September 28th. And what I'm hearing is we've got a couple really big pumpkins in the state.
They're going to be coming in.
And a couple really big pumpkins in Idaho that are planning on coming to Center Street Giant Pumpkin Festival. We're talking probably going to break the state record.
Wow.
Big, yeah. And the state record is close to, I think it's like right around 2,300 pounds. Yeah, so it's 500 pounds more than our winner last year.
And that was a beast.
And that was a big, big pumpkin. Yeah, it was a really big pumpkin. So I'm hearing that there's a gentleman in Vernal that is currently like really close to 2,000 pounds on his pumpkin. Yeah, and he's got another month to grow it. Yeah, he's got another month to grow it. And there's another one in Idaho. So we've got some potentially really big pumpkins coming to Center Street for the Way Off. Yeah.
Right.
So it should be fun. And we have a couple local growers that have some big pumpkins right now too. I'll bet they're probably pushing 1,500 pounds right now. So we could have multiple 2,000-pound pumpkins.
And you were wanting to get to about 700?
I was hoping to get 5.
Okay.
And the growers are telling me that I might be able to get close to 1,000 this year. So we'll see. For the first time ever growing, if we can get 1,000 pounds, I'll be like blown away. That would be absolutely amazing. So we'll see what happens. I have 2 that are really growing like crazy. So this is a good time with the temperatures coming down to watch those pumpkins grow a little bit more. So call in with your questions or comments. We've got a couple phone lines open at 435-752-KVNU or 435-753-KVNU, 753-5868. And we can get you on the show.
Yeah. In fact, let's go right out to the phone lines because they are stacking up. We have Gordon joining us on the line. Gordon, welcome to the show.
Am I here?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, great. Hey, this is a follow-up to my call last week, Mark.
Yes.
We're trying to salvage our big blue spruce tree. I came in and bought some Dominion, but I'm not quite straight on exactly how to apply it. Do I mix that in a water can and do it around the drip line? How do I put that down?
Yes. So you're going to mix it in water. And so it's going to recommend 1 ounce per 10 inches of circumference. So usually about 18 inches off the ground, measure the circumference of the tree. If it's, say, 40 inches, then you would put 4 ounces in a 5-gallon bucket, fill it up with water, and then water the area right around the trunk of the tree. Within 2 to 3 feet of the tree, just saturate that area all the way around the tree with it. And sometimes, so I was going to say, sometimes our applicators will split it up into 2 batches, and if it's a big tree, but you're going to still use the same amount, but put half in one 5-gallon bucket, half in another 5-gallon bucket, and then do like some on both sides of the tree. That way it kind of gets more evenly spread around the tree. But you don't have to do the drip line. Just within that 2 to 3 feet of the trunk, there's plenty of like feeder roots that will pick that insecticide up and send it up through the tree.
Okay, that sounds good. I thought I'm doing out by the drip line. This is a big old tree. I thought that's a lot.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, it's really a lot of area to cover. So, but keep it close to the trunk. But I like to go about 2 or 3 feet out around the where the roots flare out, and that works.
Okay.
That works great.
Sounds like a nice project for a cool Saturday morning.
Oh, yes, it does, doesn't it? Wonderful.
Thankfully so.
Yeah.
All righty, thanks.
You're so welcome. Have a great weekend, Gordon.
Okay, you too.
All
We'll
right.
see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, and that'll the phone line there. And let's go right back out to caller number 2, Tammy, who is joining us on the line from Tremonton. Tammy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hey, what's the difference between, how do you tell if it's squash bugs or powdery mildew?
Great question. Great question. The powdery mildew looks like somebody mixed up flour and water and sprayed it on your plant. And so the leaves turn kind of white and downy. And with the squash bugs, the plants look really healthy. They'll be green and lush and beautiful. And then like 2 days later, they just like die. And the squash vine borers or the squash bugs get into the vine, usually right where it comes up out of the ground, and they will bore into the vine and they will damage the circulatory system. And all of a sudden, water and nutrient can't spread through the vine like it was before, and the plant just starts to wilt like it's not getting any water. And you look at it and you go, hey, I just watered you last night. Why are you wilting? That's what the squash bugs do. It's just like very quickly the plants will just keel over dead. So you got to kind of watch for those and try and prevent them in the first place. They look like kind of a brown, elongated stink bug.
But with longer legs.
Yeah, they got a little bit longer legs.
Longer legs,
yeah.
almost like daddy long legs, not quite that long.
Yep. And the babies are gray in color, and they're really small. They look kind of like big aphids, but they're gray with little black legs on them, and they're the ones that do all the damage. So right now I'm spraying for mildew almost on a weekly basis because the weather's perfect for mildew to spread. So I'm spraying either the fungicide 5 from Fertilome or the F-stop from Fertilome. The F-stop's systemic. The fungicide 5 is a natural organic fungicide. They're very, very effective on all kinds of diseases, especially on the powdery mildew, and safe to use like right up to the day that you're harvesting. And then for the squash bugs, either permethrin or the Sayonara is really great for those as well too. So both of those work great on the squash bugs. 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for calling, Tammy.
Okay.
All right, phone lines open, 435-753-5868 or 752-5868. And a reminder, everyone that calls in has a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Loveland Living Planet Aquarium that we'll be giving away coming up in about 10 minutes as we
really
finish
fun
up
to
the
go
show.
down there, too.
Oh, it's a
the
lot of
aquarium's
fun.
really cool.
Kids love that.
It's awesome. So
even older kids like I have get a chance to walk through the shark tank.
Yep.
And
I've learned a lot of things going down there. Yeah, it's really fun.
All right, Donna's joining us on the line next. Nope, I take that back. We actually just lost Donna, so we'll get Donna back on the phone lines. And so phone lines open, 435-753-5868 or 435-752-5868. And, of course, in addition to the music festival that's coming up, we've got the Pumpkin Festival that's coming up. And is it too early to start talking about the Christmas festival that's going to be coming up?
It might be a little bit early to talk about other holidays, but we have kind of started working on that at Anderson. So if you come in the store and you see us making that transition, no, we're not going out of business. We've got part of the store kind of cleaned up and ready to go to start decorating for the next busy season for us at Anderson's. But so many things happening out in the garden right now. It's like people are starting to harvest their fruits. We're getting really great production out of the garden, and I'm starting to get a lot of people saying, hey, do I harvest my onions now? Should I dig up my potatoes now? I mean, we're kind of at that point where the onions should be dying down on their own, and we can start digging those up and harvesting and prepping those for storage. And potatoes are starting to die down as well too. So if you planted your potatoes in April, that's 120 days to right now, and that's when your potato vines should be dying down, and it's time to harvest and start bringing those in. So if we get a minute on the show, we can talk about how to harvest and prepare those for storage so they'll last longer.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go back out to the phone. We have Donna who called back in.
Oh, wonderful.
Donna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hey, Mark, I have a question. I'm getting a lot of suckers out in my pasture that are from cottonwood trees.
Gotcha.
Can I go ahead and kill them with like Roundup or something, cut them off and daub something on them, or does that damage the mother?
It can bother the parent tree if they're attached. And the poplars do drop a lot of seeds, and so sometimes they're seedlings and sometimes they're attached, and it's kind of hard to tell which is which. If you use an herbicide on the pasture, that won't hurt the pasture. So you could use 2,4-D, or you could use dicamba or a weed master, and that would work fine. It would knock those suckers down, but part of it could transfer back to the other tree, and you'd see it wilt and maybe start to turn brown in some areas as well too. But how big are the trees?
Well, we're along the river, the Little Bear River, and so there's just a lot of stuff that's coming out, into the pasture area. And then also when I'm killing things along a hillside, I've got a lot of suckers on some stumps that I cut off.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're attached to another tree or just that one, if I can go ahead and drill in and kill them.
Yep. Where you've got a tree that you cut off and then it's sending up suckers all over around it, you can cut those suckers off, and then I'd put like brush and stump killer right on those fresh cuts, and it will go down in and kill that root system out, and it shouldn't bother the other nearby trees. So that would work out just great. But I know,
is that better than like Roundup?
Yeah, the Roundup isn't as effective at killing the broadleaf, those suckers coming from the trees. So any of your broadleaf herbicides would work better. The brush and stump killer is like the active ingredient is called triclopyr, and the triclopyr is very, very effective at woody plants, and so it's great for killing wild roses and just brush that's gotten out of control, and you can just cut those off and just treat the stump where you just cut it, and it doesn't bother the surrounding plants, so you can be very, very strategic with it. So.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much.
Good luck, Donna. It's a tough problem. I know there's not a perfect fix for it, but hope it works well for you.
Great, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, and Luis joining us on the line next. Welcome to the show, Luis.
Hi, thanks. Mark, this might be a little late in the season, but I'm planning for next year.
Yeah.
I've planted corn twice in the garden, and both times it's like 2 to 3 feet tall, and that's about all it gets. And I've done nitrogen on it.
Yeah.
And I do compost tea on it, but it's just not growing.
might still be not enough nitrogen because the corn is a very heavy nitrogen feeder. And so some varieties of corn get taller than others. There's some varieties that get 7 to 8 feet tall, and there's others that kind of hit 6 to 6.5 feet. But if they're not getting enough nitrogen, they'll be really short. They'll only get like 2 feet tall, and they'll start to tassel, and you're just like, these ears are like 3 inches long.
Yep.
What's wrong with them?
It's all tasseled and it's got corn on it.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay,
Yep.
well.
So what I do is I will put straight nitrogen in the area where I'm going to plant my corn before I plant. And so you can do ammonium sulfate. It'd be great if you could do ammonium nitrate, but it's harder to get. You have to have a license to get the ammonium nitrate. Or you can use urea. Yeah, you can use urea as well too, but the urea is a 46% nitrogen. You have to be really careful with it because it can burn. But I'll put nitrogen out there 4 to 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet, and I'll kind of work that into the soil, and then I plant my corn. And then when the corn gets about 6 to 12 inches tall, I'll side dress it with more nitrogen. And then when it gets about 3 feet tall, I'll side dress it with more nitrogen. And we're talking about a tablespoon per cluster of stalks coming up.
Oh, yeah, I'm not doing enough then.
Yeah. And then I'll do it again right when they start to tassel. And so I really fertilize them 4 times, not just the 3, but usually at 6 to 12 inches, about a tablespoon per cluster, and then again at 3 feet, and then again at tassel.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we'll do that next year.
Yep. You will see
Is there
a huge.
anything at this point?
You can still feed them.
Still, yeah, definitely. Still give them some, and it'll at least help.
Go higher, and like my first batch of corn's coming on right now, and I really need to fertilize my second batch of corn, but I've been out of town this week, so gotta get after it this weekend. So.
Okay. All right, I'll go out and put some more fertilizer on there.
You got it. Yeah.
I have the ammonium sulfate. I've just been side dressing.
Yep. Don't feel bad, Louise. Yeah. This is something that we deal with every year for people, and you put that fertilizer on. You go, I think I'm putting too much on. It's like I'm too much, and then with the corn, it just sucks it right up like crazy. Okay. So you're just not getting enough out there.
Okay, I'll do it. Yep, just like you said, next year.
All right.
Okay.
Good luck, Louise.
You.
Thanks, Louise.
Thanks for the call.
Bye-bye.
All right, Joan joining us on the line from Millville. Joan, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for holding.
Hi, thank you. I've got a question about putting on a pre-emergent. Can you put it in your existing garden?
You sure can. The one that is
like preen.
Yeah, preen and treflan. They're both safe to use around most vegetables. So there's a few things you've got to be careful with. So I try and stay away from my squashes, melons, cucumbers, at least a couple of feet, because it can slightly damage the root system and stunt their growth just a little bit. But the corn, don't use it in your corn. It'll kill your corn. And so you got to, you got to be careful with the treflan or the preen, because it will damage grasses, and corn is a grass, and so it can damage your corn.
Oh,
yeah.
What about onions?
No problem on the onions or tomatoes or peppers or potatoes, carrots, beets. All those root crops works great for those.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to kind of watch the vines a little bit and keep it out of your corn.
Okay. My mind just went blank. What is the, we have a weed that gets in there. It's a succulent.
Oh, is it purslane? Yeah, it's purslane.
Purslane,
yes. We call it resurrection
Just
weed
horrible.
at my house. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep. And
what can you do about that?
It drops so many seeds. Like, all it takes is one little plant, and it just drops thousands of seeds like everywhere. Yeah,
very resilient.
It is edible. Did you get to try it yet, Will?
No,
Will was going to eat it last week. So
I picked about 30 pounds of it, and I didn't. I didn't take a single bite.
Bit. Oh man, yeah. It tastes better in the morning. So if you pick it like first thing in the morning when the sun comes up, it tastes really good. If you wait till the end of the day, it develops malic acid and it tastes more bitter. It's not as good.
I don't know if you could say it tastes really good. It's edible.
It is edible.
It's like saying dandelions are edible.
They are edible, and they're delicious. They're delicious. So the treflan will kill the seeds of purslane. It's very effective on the purslane. So you can pull those plants out and throw them on the driveway and let them dry up, and then throw them in your composter, and that will finally get rid of them. But if you leave them in the garden, they'll just reroot and come right back. And so they're very resilient, and they're very drought tolerant, and they just spread like crazy. So I feel your pain, Joan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the treflan that will kill.
It will prevent them.
Off?
It'll prevent them from coming up from seed, but it won't kill the ones that are there already. And so the ones that are there already, you have to be really careful if you're going to spray anything in the garden. So I like to use Decimate. The Decimate does a great job on purslane, but it won't affect surrounding plants as long as the spray doesn't drift over on those plants. So the Decimate, I can get into my garden and spray Morning Glory and purslane and puncture vine. And if you're very selective and you just spray it right on the plants you're trying to kill, it will just kill those and won't bother the nearby ones. But you got to be super careful doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You are welcome. Good luck with your purslane eradication, Joan. So
thank you. Bye.
Bye.
We can all relate with your frustrations.
Exactly. I've got one section right by my beans where it has rained and the beans came up, and then just like it is a carpet of purslane right now. So I'm like, okay, do I just pull the tiller out and just till them up, or do I really kind of need to go in there and spray them? Because if I hoe them, they're just gonna come
right back. So
yeah.
You not only have to hoe them, but then you got to just take a rake and rake them all up.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, I had about 4 piles of them that I pulled out the other night. So
terrible.
All right, Mark, I want you to tell me when to stop. What we're going to do is we've got 10. Yeah, altogether 10. And so,
nice.
Or 9. 9 was the total. So
works.
9 callers. And let's just draw a winner. So you tell me when to hit stop.
Stop.
All right, that is number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Chris from Logan is the winner of our tickets. So congratulations to Chris. Thanks to all of our callers. We'll have more of those tickets to be given away. Coming up is, like I said, we're moving into the new studio, and as we were cleaning out and moving stuff around, we came across these and thought, hey, we'll give these away in the mornings.
That's awesome. So Chris, how does Chris get his tickets?
So we will give him a call, and he can come by our studios and pick them up.
That sounds wonderful.
And we've got one last minute to mention again that the
Cash sale. Yep, cash
has
sale going
bumped
on at
up
Anderson's.
the discount.
Yeah, so it was 25%. Now it's 40% off our regular prices. And if you pay with cash, you get an extra 10% off of that. And so you get 50% off. So half price on trees and shrubs and evergreens and flowering trees and vines, everything that's kind of left out in the garden center. Half price if you pay with cash.
All right.
Half price if you pay with cash. Center Street Art Beat and Music Festival
Coming up next
weekend. Yeah, next weekend should be a blast.
Okay.
And a lot of fun events coming up in September.
We'll be talking more about it coming up next week. Thanks so much for joining us here on The Garden Guide.
News and talk around the clock.
I listen to you all the time.
News Talk KVNU Logan, 610 a.m. at 1.